I am under arrest. Because I am under arrest. I am in handcuffs. I'm not free to leave. I'm not free to leave. Am I free to leave?
Ever wondered what happens when corrupt cops are finally caught red-handed? Well, in this video, we're going to explore the shocking events when officers realize they're the ones in handcuffs, not the ones putting them on others. Two unbelievable stories of evil cops getting a taste of their own medicine. Let's get started. Let's start with Detective Michael Neely, who was found in a hotel room sitting on top of his dead police chief.
Tonight, new video of a cop accused of killing his boss, Manford Police Chief Lucky Miller. This is from a Florida courtroom today.
In November 2019, a maintenance guy at a hotel in Florida went to room 527 because someone complained about a noise on a Sunday evening. By the time the maintenance man arrived to check out the complaint, he found Manford, Oklahoma police detective Michael Patrick Neely, 49, sitting on top of police chief Lucky Miller, 44. Mike and his chief Lucky Miller were away at a conference when they went out for a few drinks one night. After a long night of drinking, Mike woke up in police custody and was taken to the same room where he had been questioning suspects for the previous 10 years. But this time, it wasn't him. Let's go to the interrogation room to find out how he faced the results of what he did and what made him commit this crime. As you can see here, Mike is continuously shaking his leg while he's left alone in an interrogation room. It might mean he's nervous or worried about his actions. This behavior could suggest he's either hiding something or feeling uneasy. It's a clue that something might be going on with him. Even though the suspect here, who's a police officer, is aware of the Miranda rights, it's the duty of every detective to still remind them about these rights. In this case, the detective made sure to tell Mike about his Miranda rights, even though he knew them already.
Well, you have your rights, right?
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used as evidence against you in court. You have the right to have a lawyer present while being questioned.
All of Mike's responses are concise.
So tell me, Mike, you guys flew out of Tulsa?
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, okay. And to Pensacola?
Yep.
Was it a direct flight?
No.
Which is a righteous idea in this situation, but it's debatable whether he knows it's the best course of action or is simply being careful. Or maybe he is still feeling extremely hungover. Keep in mind that Mike was extremely intoxicated last night, and he likely has no recollection of the events. The detective inquires about the last thing Mike can recall from that evening before the football game.
What is the last thing you remember as far as that evening until the football game?
Mike begins to express his confusion and asks a question of his own, wanting to know who has died.
Well, I know you're asking me questions, but can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, homicide. Who is dead?
This is the moment when Mike becomes aware of the severity of the situation, as the detective reveals that the victim is his own police chief, which possibly shocks Mike. But even more surprising is how Mike casually responded with an "oh, okay," showing no signs of remorse or shock.
Lucky's dead.
Lucky is dead.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
His calm demeanor in response to such a serious revelation is unsettling and makes us wonder why he appears so emotionally detached from the situation. Is he acting completely hungover or what? However, the experienced detectives are prepared to employ their years of expertise to uncover the truth. Detectives informed Mike that he was being charged with second-degree murder, and he was about to be locked away in Escambia County Jail.
Yeah, you're being charged with second-degree murder, and you're fixing to be booked in Escambia County Jail with no bond.
The shock on his face was palpable, but his memory remained a blank slate. Now, the detectives are essentially gathering all the information to build a timeline of the evening and potential factors that contributed to the situation.
Okay. Well, we'll continue this interview with you. It's like I'm trying to get you to figure out what's the last thing you remember.
Let's watch further. Even when the detective explained all the details and information gathered, Mike showed no signs of remorse. He sat there casually, almost as if he didn't care about the dire consequences his life was heading towards. Here, the detective is explaining to Mike the injuries they've observed and the potential reason behind Lucky's death.
It gives the appearance that he's beat to death. His head is very swollen. Like we said, his right eye is completely shut.
But the exact reason for Lucky's death still remains unknown. Watch how Mike's tone changes as he begins to almost engage with his own investigation, as he begins to realize that's his only option. Here you can see now, Mike expressed his disbelief about what happened to Lucky and the fact that he is now dead. He's in disbelief.
I can't. It's unbelievable. I just cannot believe. I can't believe it.
And now it seems like he genuinely doesn't remember what happened that night. Michael Neely was, without a doubt, placed under arrest and later received a life sentence for second-degree murder. Surprisingly, he displayed a remarkable calmness upon hearing this news, as he was mentally prepared for this. But unlike Mike, former Rio Arriba County Sheriff James Lujan, 70, on March 26, 2020, refused to give in and openly ignored the law when he was arrested by his own colleagues. His arrest was on charges of obstruction during an investigation that was ironically directed towards him. This investigation originated from his sheltering of former city councilor Philip Chacon, who was wanted by the Espanola Police Department for assaulting an individual. Let's get started. This is Chief Lujan, who told the supervisor in charge to make everyone leave.
That's who you have a warrant for?
Right.
Pull everybody out. I'll bring them in.
He appeared suddenly, smelling of alcohol.
Hey, the sheriff just pulled in, and he's asking us to pull back, and he'll pull him in. But he's been drinking. I can smell it on him.
Conflict brewed between Lujan and the Espanola Police Department, as Lujan demanded that the officers pull back and leave the scene, asserting his authority. However, the officers stood their ground, refusing to back down.
I don't want to pull him out.
Huh?
I don't want to pull them back.
Excuse me?
Lujan's behavior grew increasingly erratic, raising questions about his true motivations. The story begins in March 2020 when Espanola police issued a warrant for the arrest of Philip Chacon, a former city councilor accused of assaulting a man. Chacon, however, decided to hide in his residence, sparking a tense standoff with law enforcement. As officers surrounded Chacon's home, the situation took an unexpected turn when Sheriff James Lujan arrived at the scene, reeking of alcohol. At this point, everything appeared highly suspicious, leading to a clear confrontation among the authorities. To worsen the situation, Lujan then disobeyed the city and state police orders, walking right up to Chacon's residence, entering the hot zone of the scene, all while holding his phone as though he were on a call with someone. Surprisingly, not long after this, Chacon left the residence and was finally placed under arrest. Finally, they took Ramon's phone. Unfortunately for Sheriff Lujan, Ramon's phone revealed more evidence of his corrupt deeds. Shortly after that, they got a search warrant for Lujan's own phone.
For your cell phone. So, one on your personal cell phone, and then one on your work cell phone. So those are your copies.
Lujan initially refused to comply, citing his right to legal counsel.
Casados is not. Is this for which case? What case is this?
Frustration grew as officers tried to convince Lujan to surrender his phones. The situation took another twist when Espanola police officers sought to obtain Sheriff Lujan's cell phones, suspecting they held crucial evidence. Despite having a legal search warrant, the standoff intensified as Lujan tried to evade giving up his phones. He even attempted to leave the scene in his car, only to be stopped by officers. The tension reached its peak when SWAT forces were called in to secure the area, effectively locking down the sheriff's office. Let's see how they captured him. But this was not enough. They had a warrant to access his phone data, which Lujan had completely denied. And there, Chief Lujan was finally arrested by his own people. After hours of negotiations and tension, Sheriff Lujan was finally detained by his own deputies. A surreal and humiliating moment. He was not arrested, but detained pending the authorization to unlock his phones.
The authorization to seize your phone, okay? Search your phone, okay? But it also gives me the authorization. So what I'm asking for you to do is unlock your phone.
as the search warrant specifically required access to the phone's contents. During this time, Lujan invoked his right to an attorney and continued to resist complying with the search warrant. Ultimately, he was taken into custody and escorted to the police car. And finally, Rio Arriba County Sheriff Lujan has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. These two cases give us a strong message that corruption and misconduct within law enforcement would not be tolerated, and law is the same for everyone. This pivotal moment paved the way for a more just and accountable system. Thanks for joining us for these true crime stories. If you're intrigued, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping content. Stay tuned and hit the notification bell to stay updated.